Hi there, everyone. So we're here today to interview the very well-renowned brand Louis Poulsen, and we've got one of their keynote speakers here, fortunately, Sune Kristensen, and he is going to help us out just on a few quick questions and tell us a little bit about the company and where he's going with it and how it's all moving. So our first question to you, Sune, would be, Louis Poulsen is one of the world's most influential lighting companies, certainly the oldest. Could you just give us a brief history of, where it came from and how it's ended up where it is?
I can, surely. The company was established back in 1874. It was actually a trading company at the time. We were trading in wine, probably a business we should have stayed in. It would have been more fun than the lighting. And then when the first, you can say, power plants and you can say electricity started to be implemented into Denmark and established in Denmark in the beginning of the 1890s, the company actually turned into be like a wholesaler within electrical equipment. Then in the beginning of the 1920s, we were approached by a Danish architect and designer called Poulsen, who had invented a shade system to basically enclose the modern incandescent lamp. And this was the beginning of the DNA and ethos of Louis Poulsen. Since then, anchored in the Scandinavian tradition of design or form follow functions and simplicity in design, we have worked with numerous both Danish and international designers. And I think that I don't have to mention that we have some of the most iconic products in the product range today. There was an independent lighting analysis done some years ago by the UK magazine Lighting, and they nominated actually the top 40 lighting products or design lighting products in the world, and Louis Poulsen had 4 of those positions, whereof I think we had the first place, which was the PH5, and we had the third place, I think, was the PH Artichokes, and then we had Pantella and an AJ table as well. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. I tell you, it's quite the pedigree, really. And the ethos behind everything emanates out of that pure design, as you say, the Scandinavian design.
Yeah, but you can say that at the time when Poul Henningsen started to work with taming the incandescent light, he was more or less the first one that has done that. The alternative to that at the time was basically fabric shades over incandescent lamps, but he had a completely different approach. And this is also what is important to understand in the most of what we are doing today is that it's designed to shape the light. So it's actually, the design is not the design for the sake of design, but it has a function. And I would go so far to say that Poul Henningsen was probably the first lighting designer ever that had a scientific approach to how to actually control the electrical light, or the electrical light source, basically.
Excellent. Could you describe the style of the Louis Poulsen product range? Now, I know we're talking there about design, but there are very different kind of segments within the range, and a lot of people may not be aware of them.
So when I do presentations, one of the first things I always ask people is, so when you say Louis Poulsen or think of Louis Poulsen, what is the first thing that you think of? And a lot of people, they will say PH Artichoke, or they will say AJ lamps or PH lamps. And I always say that I want to, with my presentation, I want to actually drag them to the keyhole for them to see the whole and entire Louis Poulsen world. Because Louis Poulsen, yes, has some really, really iconic decorative products, but what people doesn't realize is that we have an architectural range and we have an outdoor urban range. And what is, you can say, the strong design DNA through all of them is that it's all about creating comfortable illumination and ambience in interior spaces and outdoor spaces where people are present.
Very good. Well, on that note as well, I suppose maybe we just ask you there is what would be some of your favorite lighting products? Within the
Yeah,
range, if
there's
you
a
were to
lot.
pick, if you
There's
were
a
to
lot.
pick.
So one of my real favorites, and has been one of my real favorites, I think, throughout my employment here, is the Septima. A lot of people doesn't know the Septima. We relaunched it this year. It's actually the mother of the PH artichoke.
Okay.
So this was a fitting made from glass that Paul Henningsen designed back in the 20s, where he actually frosted the shades of the glass. He frosted certain patches, and those patches are actually what today is the leaves on the PH artichokes. So he cut away all the sections of the clear glass and turned them into metal shades, and that's what is the artichoke today. But it all started with a glass pendant back in the 20s.
All
And
right.
that's, you can say, that's more within the decorative range. And then we have a designer we are working with today called Flint, who has been extremely successful. And it's a coincidence, Rocky, but you're actually showing one of his products behind you, which is the Flint
No
bollard.
coincidence.
It's, but it's the Flint bollard, and you know, the whole idea is here that he has this organic shape, which is a natural, almost cut of a wooden stick. And the bollard you see behind you is his first product within that family. But then he added on a wall light, huge success. And then earlier this year, we actually launched an architectural, you could call it like a totem light, which is called the Flint Plaza. And this is, to me, one of my, or that family of products is one of my favorites. So they are covering both urban and architectural, the architectural range.
Very good, very good. Well, I'm glad that you've introduced it to some of the products that people may not be familiar with Louis Poulsen, because as you said earlier, there are the iconic fittings that everyone knows, the artichoke, the PH5, etc., etc. But the family and the development and the design, I think, carries through all the way through the urban products, through the lamp standards, etc., and into the architectural range. So I know we're not going to keep it very long.
Can I just add something here? Now I'm taking over.
Yeah.
So what is characteristic with the product development of Louis Poulsen, and what you have seen and where we started in the past, was that a lot of our, you can say, designs has actually originated from an application. So a designer, a specifier, an architect, a lighting designer, landscape design came to us with an actual issue of creating a product for a certain task application in one of their projects. And based on that, we have designed products together with these designers, and they have then since then turned into actually standard products in our product portfolio.
Very good. Yeah. Well, I think if you think about the logic and the organicness of that, it makes a lot of sense and stands true from the ethos of the company. And then just to close off, like, you know, Wink here, we're partnered with you, we're working away trying to promote everything and get things going. And this is our first interview with any provider and manufacturer, and we've chosen you above the rest because you are the best.
I'm honored. I shouldn't laugh. So
Anyway,
you need.
so I suppose, like, you know, your relationship and how you pick people that you work with, is there any influence there? Do you like, or is it, you know, how do you decide on the companies that might represent you?
So of course, when we look at partners in the different market, we will look at, you could say, the typical thing. We will look at the business area they cover. We will look at their existing product portfolio, if there are any competition with the products we represent. And then we try to look for how spread are they in the market. And you can say, and then of course, what is very important as well is that the chemistry is right. I mean, we're working with human beings, we are building relations, and if the chemistry is not right, then it doesn't work. And I've been so fortunate to meet you, Rocky, and know you for some time now. And yes, we are very focused on doing business. but we also have fun together. And that's for me, that's a very important thing. You can say Wink for me, and one of the reasons why I chosen Wink is that you cover different areas within the business sector. You cover a high-end residential segment in the market, but you also cover a more commercial segment in the market. And then I think that your individual ability to work with lighting design is a huge, you can say, add-on factor to the importance of working with Wink. The understanding of illumination and applications is very important.
Oh, thank you very much. I think that is a compliment.
Don't look that surprised.
Better my cap. And I didn't pay for that. There was no payment.
No, you did not. I didn't know. I don't know how I did this.
Very good. So, well, with that note, I would say thanks a million, and that's really as far as we'll take it. And hopefully, we will talk to you very soon. And thanks a million for your time and your confidence. And it's a pleasure for Wink to be associated with Louis Poulsen. I just have to add. So, on that note, thanks very much, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.